Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming along to our Essentials of Care meeting. I hear the ward is pretty busy out there today.
Yeah, I've been a bit flustered today. It's really busy. I had quite a bit to do, but I'm glad I've made some arrangements so I can be here.
So you're okay to be here for this time?
I'm the same, thanks.
Okay, good. So it's a claims, concerns and issues, and the purpose of it is to get key stakeholder involvement and perspectives on what we think is going to help us with this and what we think might be some of the barriers that we're going to come across, and then to identify what are the key issues that we need to address to move forward in a positive way. Okay? So does everyone want to think about what claims we've got? Sue?
Well, I'm very familiar to all the staff because I work with them on, every day in the ward, so I think that's my major claim.
Great. Claudia?
I think the main claim that I think is important is that we've all had some facilitation training, so we've developed some skills around giving or talking to staff. I think that will help.
Good.
A claim that I would have would be that we have the support from other facilitators within the organisation that are going through the same program and the same processes as we are.
Great, yeah, we do. Robert?
I think because we were the ones that collected the data as well, we were involved in that process, so it should be a little bit easier to be able to feed that data back to them.
Yeah, good, excellent. Okay, so the next phase then is for us to think about what are our concerns. So what are some of the barriers or the hurdles that we're going to have to overcome? They tend to be a more negative thing. We haven't got them, or we need to have more of them. So can people think about what those concerns are? Sue?
The only concern that I would have would be getting all that data to all the staff equally, so that everyone has, access to it.
Well, I'm concerned about how the staff are going to make sense of the information and then move forward to actually make some changes.
My main concern would be that ensuring that there's an awareness that even though the data provided to all staff is the same, that the perception of how they receive that data can differ from person to person. So having a sensitivity around that.
Great, so thanks for sharing all your claims and your concerns about this next part. Now what we need to do is look at all of those, and given that this is the landscape with which we're working, we need to identify what are the key issues that we have to address to help us to move into an action plan so that we can move forward. Okay, so out of that, looking at all of that, what do people think are the key issues?
Well, I think in terms of getting the information out to staff, I'm wondering whether we could actually run some sessions sort of at different times, and that way we could capture a lot of the staff that way.
Now that's a really good idea, Claudia, but what's happening here is that we're moving to solutions and answers without really identifying what the key issue is. So with that in mind, can you rephrase that so that it's a critical question?
Okay, well, what about how can we make sure that all staff have access to the information? Is that a question?
Yeah, that sounds really good. Because it's a question, it opens us up more to options for addressing the issue.
How about something like, how do we prepare staff for feedback of data?
That sounds good. Okay, thanks, Robert. We're agreed then that the key issue of the highest priority is to prepare the staff to receive this feedback.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So can we think of some actions that are going to help to get this happening?
Well, I think I'll start scheduling in-services that are focusing on essentials of care. I'll just slot them into the regular in-service schedule. So maybe start next week and last for about a month or so, do you think?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yep.
So we've got an action, we've got a timeline.
Yeah.
Great.
I think that it would be important if I collate the data into a simpler form, so look at it, take away all the repetitions and make sure it's concise so it can be presented.
Well, that was a really good meeting. We got some clear issues on the table and some actions that to take away. So just before everybody heads back out onto the busy ward, I'll just check in with how people are feeling and what was the best thing that you got out of that meeting today, Annie?
I feel really encouraged. I always do after one of the EOC meetings, encouraged, and there's actually a plan and we're moving forward. And I look forward to the next session.
Great, yeah. And Robert, what are you feeling?
Well, I guess we've added to that busyness a little bit more, but I think it's an important thing that we need to look at, and the planning of it is very important. I think it'll solve a lot of other issues and problems we might be having.
Excellent, yep. Okay, so given that that's the case, maybe we need to get back together sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that would be good. I think so.
See how people are going. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll plan a time in the next couple of weeks.
Sure.
Okay, great.
Sounds good.